Well, hello, people, and welcome back to Oris Talks Football. First time co hosting. This is me, Manny Thangadurai. Certainly not MT headed, if you will, but it is good to be back on the channel. And it is good to be hosting a preview to this upcoming midweek game between Crystal Palace and Manchester United. The Eagles against the Red Devils. Should be a bit of a cracker. Certainly, Palace are in need of a few 3 points, but United are red hot and rampant. And to discuss this, we are now going to have a few guests. The first guest I would like to introduce to you all from the Crystal Palace side of things is Mr. Rich Aponsa from Eagle Eyed Football. Rich, good to see you back. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, life-wise, football-wise could be better. It's been a very tough month football-wise for our club. It's not going to get any easier. Not until April, I believe. So if we can get anything out of tomorrow, I'll be very happy. I doubt it.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, your form leaves a lot to be desired, it must be said. And of course, we will get to the specifics of that when we talk about the teams in question. Of course, technically, I am neutral, but I know all about your manager. Came from Senegal, played for Arsenal, but of course now he's the Eagles manager. And of course, when he comes back to the Emirates, we will, of course, give him the welcome and the song. But we will look to make sure that we repeat our opening day success against him. Don't take it personally, yeah?
It is what it is. Hopefully we can come back and get a draw or even get a win this time around, because that last minute one still hurt me from last season.
No, you did thrash us at Selhurst Park and help deny us of Champions League football, so that should be some cause of satisfaction. I don't really want to mention that because we do have another Arsenal fan joining us, and that segues into the guests coming in. We've got two of our... Yep, that is the Arsenal fan in question, Oliver Sinclair, Ollie, yes, as he prefers to be called, DJ Ollie, Sinclairo, and Arsenal, of course, top of the league. Yep. I think Vieira's the last thing on your mind now, isn't it, son?
Yeah.
And of course, we've got one of our regular co-hosts, Hardeep Singh Dadwal. Sat Sri Akal, Paji. Waheguru ji, kya haal hai, badhiya?
How you guys doing? How you guys doing this evening?
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good. Everyone's fine. And of course, the main man in the centre at the top.
United. Yes. It's good to be back. Looking forward to tomorrow. Obviously, Palace. Yeah, they're not doing well, but
yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. But of course, as I said, Oris and Hardeep, United are red hot and in form, picking up 9 consecutive wins in all competitions. Potentially could be a 10th, of course, against Palace. Are you looking forward to potentially becoming title challengers, or are you title challengers?
Listen, I told Hardeep before, we are title contenders with Arsenal. We are with you, Manny. Now, forget City. Forget little old City.
You're not title contenders.
We are in it. But last season, unfortunately, I had the same manager on Richard's channel, and then obviously I got the smoke at the end. But nah, for me, it's different vibes, man. It's honestly different vibes. This season is different, man. We're breaking records. We're actually breaking records, man. Tenag's breaking those records, and we'll see, man. We'll see in May. But Manny, I've heard that you're Arteta in now. Is that true, Manny?
No, I'm not Arteta in. For me, it's still jury out. And look, the season is only halfway done. There is always many a slip between the cup and the lip. Just as the relegation race is not decided halfway through the season, the title is not decided halfway through the season. As one of Hardeep's friends has said on Twitter, there have been teams who have led by as much as 10 or 12 points and still not gone on to win. So it's still a long way to go. Am I not right?
Absolutely. I mean, considering it's Premier League, it's so unpredictable. You don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right, and I hope you appreciate the fact that I read your Twitter very frequently, Hardeep.
You do, absolutely.
Okay, well, of course, the order of the day is, of course, a preview of Crystal Palace and Manchester United. And, of course, thanks to our dear friends at BBC Sport, we do have some preview pages, which we can definitely share, and this is how it goes. So this, of course, will be played on, forget about the date, it will be on the 18th of January, tomorrow at 8 o'clock GMT, or 8 o'clock British time, of course, from Selhurst Park. And we've got some team news from Palace in that the defender Joachim Andersen, Danish international, could miss out with the calf problem that prompted his substitution against Chelsea on Sunday, with James Tompkins set to come in. And it isn't just Anderson who might be affected. And I want to talk now as well about the form. Basically, the form guide over here says it all. Palace have lost 4 of their past 5 league matches, failing to score in any of those defeats. I do believe it's based their 5 league matches have been lost, draw, lost, because the second line says it all. The Eagles can equal their longest Premier League losing streak under Patrick Vieira, 3 games in succession set between November and December of 2021. They are also winless in all 9 league fixtures this season against teams that are currently in the top half of the table and have already equaled last season's final tally of 4 home defeats, with all of their dropped points at Selhurst Park coming in London derbies, including, of course, that first week loss at home to Arsenal. They are winless in 13 Premier League home games played in midweek since beating Aston Villa in their first such fixture in February 1993. Boy, has that been a long way. The first Premier League season. And since then, 7 draws and 6 losses. And the talisman, Wilfried Zaha, about whom there has been some controversy about whether or not he will be willing to join Arsenal, could end up going for 6 Premier League appearances in succession without a goal for the first time since the first few months of 2021, January to April. He does, however, have 3 goals in his last 3 games against Manchester United. And for my side, Rich, I want to talk to you about Palace in more in detail, and we've got a lot of these, greater pieces of analysis. Obviously, there is talk about getting some more players during the January window, and I know another point of,
I wish.
you've allowed your third goalkeeper, Jackie Butland, to go to Manchester United on loan. Whether or not he will see any action for the Red Devils, I don't know. But here's the thing about Palace that I've always liked, and which has always tended to worry me in a way. Palace have always been this team under Vieira that has looked a lot fresher, certainly a lot fresher than Roy Hodgson's time around, and a lot younger. And they've certainly played with a great deal of verve and excitement in many ways. And they've also added a little bit of steel to their game, basically showing teams that they are not a team that can be taken for granted. And last season, they actually did quite well. This season, of course, technically they are, I want to say comfortably in mid-table, but they're certainly not being threatened. And if we take a look at the points as to how many points they have, they've played 18 games, have a goal difference of -9, and are behind Aston Villa on 22 points themselves in 12th place. But sadly, only 6 or 7 points separates them from the drop zone. And of course, with more games to play, I certainly don't see Palace in threat of relegation yet. But again, as I say, many are split between the cup and the lip. I'm not too sure what's been the cause of Palace's decline in that sense of the word. Would you say it's been due to injuries or the team being found out or the shape of the team? Has Patrick Vieira lost his tactical, innovation or an initiative in a way? What do you think seems to be ailing the Eagles so far? Why aren't they flying as high as they used to?
Well, first things first, when you have a successful season as we did last season and you don't invest in it in the summer, you're asking for trouble. We brought in Chris Richards, Chet Doucouré, Luke Plange, who went out on loan. He's a youngster. Malcolm Ebiue, he's a youngster as well. And those were our signings. We've gone from buying, last season we bought, I think, 6 or 7 players in, to buying 2, and only one of them actually plays at the moment. Chris Richards hasn't seen minutes. I'm hoping he starts tomorrow, but something tells me it's Tompkins. But we're not going to go there right now. I need to try to stay in a bit my good mood for the meantime. So that's a big problem, because you're left light, you're left very thin. It means that, like, when we do make any substitutions, they're the same type of substitutions. There's not really anything to change the game. And also, the biggest problem, there's not really competition for places, which leads to complacency. On top of that, I guess as a fan base, there's kind of like question marks regarding Vieira's team selection. There's 3 definite players that always gets questioned in a sense. So number 1, Jeffrey Schlupp, why he's playing. A lot of people want to see Will Hughes get more minutes and stuff. Jordan Ayew, a lot of the fans don't like him. Now, listen, his output going like as a forward is dreadful. But what he does give you is work rate, and against teams like the Chelsea's, the Man United, he's an asset, you know. So I'm not going to come out and say, oh, he should never play. No, listen, when he's played against the big teams, he's played well. It's just he in a defensive sort of thing. But when it's like attacking, like he's missing chances or he can't make a cross, that's the frustrating aspect. Who else have I mentioned? And obviously our goalkeeper. Yeah, like after the blunders against Southampton, the 2 blunders against Southampton in the FA Cup, a lot of people want Johnston in. And fair play to VG, he had a great game against Chelsea. You know, we were very unlucky to come away with a point in that game because I feel we actually took the game to them at points. You know, just one moment of lapse concentration and they scored from it. The last thing that Vieira needs to sort out, and this is my just personal opinion, he needs to stop playing Wilfred Zaha up front. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. He needs to stick with Odsonne-Edouard, put Zaha on the left where he's better. Let Elise play on the right and play Eze in the 10. And if he does want to play Ayew, we'll figure it out. But Wilfred Zaha should not be playing up front for us.
I get that. And hopefully, if he were to have that change in position, he'd be back in the goals.
I think so. Because obviously he's better running at players. You know, I know he's lost a lot of pace and he's a bit more direct and his decision making's better. But when he plays up top, he doesn't know when to press. He's not good with his back to goal personally, especially if it's in the air. If it's on the floor, then fair enough. He's got good control there. A great example, Issa Diop ate him alive when Fulham came to us. And yes, the 2 red cards didn't help our cause, but before then, Wolf was struggling up top, you know. So I just feel like he just needs to go back on the left hand side where he knows how to play, where he's comfortable. Mitchell's back now as well. They can form their partnership down the left hand side, and at least that will give us a better chance tomorrow.
Okay, so we will have a couple more points over here. Palace fans, of course, reacting to the 1-0 loss over Chelsea by saying it was a decent performance. It should have had some points, but obviously some more clinicality is what's desired. Elise can put in a killer ball, but there's no real movement apparently. And as well organized as the defense may be, doesn't really have that much in terms of urgency. And another question, it's been mooted, and obviously this isn't the Sun, so you know what I think about the Sun. That paper isn't worth being used as lavatory roll. But there is talk about possibly bringing Conor Gallagher back on loan if he were allowed to leave Chelsea during the January transfer window. Of course, it's not known if it will happen because Chelsea need to have some players coming back to full fitness before they can even consider letting him go on loan. And he did, of course, start in the Blues 1-0 win over the Eagles at Stamford Bridge on Sunday, playing in the full 90 minutes. I believe he
played well.
He also, if I'm correct, didn't he also score for Chelsea against you lot?
Yeah, last minute goal at Selhurst Park. That's another game we shouldn't have dropped points. It's just crazy.
Right. So that match aside, if you were offered the chance to bring him back, and he probably seemed to enjoy playing at Crystal Palace with the lack of exposure that he would normally get at Chelsea, would you say yes, or do you think it's time to just move on from him?
I would say yes, but I don't want us spending the whole window trying to get him. You know, we should really be. We need a centre midfielder anyway, as well as fullbacks, and another striker. Because I want Edouard playing, but after that, Mateta, he had his purple patch last season. He shaved his hair, and like Samson, he's lost all his powers. Like he can't control the ball. He can't win a header. We need another striker. So yes, I will take him back. But if we're going to spend a whole window trying to get him, then sack it off. Wait to see what happens in the summer, because we are desperately in need of a midfielder, desperately in need of at least one fullback, you know, and we can't be wasting our time chasing just one player.
Agreed, but Newcastle also are interested in him, so I do agree with that. There's only about maybe less than 2 weeks, I would say, until the end of the transfer window, so you are going to have to really, be quick. Don't do an Arsenal and dawdle like we've done so far. Make sure you get what you want, yeah?
Yeah, get McTominay, man. McTominay.
Yeah, good forward there.
Yeah, so that's one question. Okay. But now, of course, we come to Manchester United. Team news. Dutch striker Wout Weghorst, he, of course, the person who very nearly broke Argentinian hearts, available for Manchester United following his arrival on loan.
Look at that smile
But the
from
fitness
Hardy.
of but the fitness of Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford will be assessed. Diogo Dalot and Jadon Sancho remain unavailable, while the Brazilian midfielders Casemiro and Fred are both one booking away from suspension, so they will have to
play them.
cheeky. And of course, when we take a look at match facts, of course, as I've said, the Red Devils are red hot and in form and have all the momentum. A 10th straight victory in all competitions would be United's longest run in 4 years since that 11-match streak under Alex Ferguson. They've won 5 consecutive Premier League fixtures and are the only team to have won every Premier League game in which they have led this season. So United last dropped points from a winning position in a 1-1 home draw versus Southampton last February. And this, of course, is Manchester United's first away match of this year. 5 away league victories so far this season were all by a single goal margin. So tight wins, but wins nonetheless. Marcus Rashford has, of course, scored in 7 successive appearances in all competitions. It will remain to be seen whether he plays at Selhurst Park, given questions over his fitness. But, of course, he is the first Manchester United player to do so since he who shall not be named, of course. He who is no longer involved back in April 2008. However, he's failed to score in any of his last 25 Premier League away starts since a 2-2 draw at Leicester City at Boxing Day on 2020, which is probably why whenever he has scored, it's probably been as an impact sub. And of course, tomorrow we will be saying Feliz Cumpleaños to World Cup winner Lisandro Martinez, who celebrates his 25th birthday. And of course, there's some more in-depth news on Manchester United. Obviously, questions over Martial. He had to be taken off at halftime in the derby because he probably wasn't looking in the best form of mind. And here's another thing here. I did mention he who shall not be named, but it has been said that his interview with that other cretin, who I do not want to name, was probably one of the best things.
Who are you talking about?
You know who.
I'm speaking about a person who is well known to Mr. Dudwell and Mr. Mikaj. You also will know this. Don't try to stir the pot, Mr. Sinclair. And let's get going. Yeah. So this latest podcast called The Devil's Advocate, reflecting on the Derby win and what Erik ten Hag has done to transform the side season after a poor start. And obviously, I can't help but wax lyrical about Ten Hag, but since I am the host, I have to remain neutral. I will leave that to Hardeep and Oris to do that. They've won their past 9 games, could be 10, and basically the Dutchman has been praised for his no-nonsense approach. Everyone's on the same page. If you're going to be a disciplinarian, it's like when you were in school and you had a strict teacher. If this was a class that didn't really care about the work and they weren't bothered and they were just going to laugh at that teacher, and if they weren't getting good results, they would have turned on Ten Hag after the Brighton and Brentford game, but they chose not to. If you have a disciplinarian and you keep winning, nobody argues back at him. It's his way or the highway. And there are no more showboaters, no dancers in the changing room, the ones that didn't do it on the pitch. Ten Hag's clever about the players he wants and the players he goes for. They all seem like team players or grafters. He's getting that balance right. Cristiano Ronaldo doing that interview is probably one of the best things that has ever happened to us, and I do apologize for naming him. Now, I'm in 2 minds here, because both of you, Hardeep and Oris, will remember a certain Jose Mourinho and other managers who had this my way or the highway attitude. And as mentioned, that works when you're winning games. But if you're not winning games and you're not quite able to get anything, then surely that can lead to a great deal of bitterness. So I'd like to ask you both, what difference do you see in Erik ten Hag from the likes of Jose Mourinho? And how do you think he's been able so far? I know it's his first season, but how do you think he's been able to get everyone behind him? Despite he's obviously quite strict, but he does seem to have, more of a compassionate side to him, at least in my opinion. I'd like to know from you two, do you see that compassionate streak in him, which can also help balance out his disciplinarian ways?
Absolutely. I think it's with Ten Hag, he's very, very ridiculous. He's really, driven to win. And I think it's with Ten Hag, he's really hands-on as a manager. As Let's allude to with Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho was very outdated manager. With Jose Mourinho, he wasn't really obsessed with winning, but with Ten Hag, you've got an epitome of modern manager. He is really driven to players to find style play. Really empathised with technical, high pressing, possession based football. So with Ten Hag, our trajectory in the moment is really progressing. I think if United continue to back him, they will absolutely give him the tools they need.
Yeah, man. Listen,
Right.
for me, carbon copy and paste what Hardeep said. For me, Ten Hag, listen, he gives his own rules, and if players don't listen to it, you either get benched or just dropped. Because for me, one good example was obviously Rashford against Wolves. Like, obviously he overslept for a meeting, and then he gets dropped. Like, even no matter if you're in superb form, Ten Hag will drop you, man, because he has his own principles. But I think with Mourinho, I think players didn't like his ideas, and he lost out with some. It's his way.
Yeah, Oris, we lost you there. I think I didn't quite hear you. Could you?
Yeah, you went
Yeah.
a bit funny.
Yeah, so good problem.
You're right now. You were just like,
Yeah. So what were you saying, Oris? I think you said that people sort of got sour of Mourinho quickly. Oris, are you there?
hello, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were you saying about Mourinho, and why didn't it eventually work out for him?
I think it's just that the players, like he fell out with a couple of his players. For me,
Yeah, hopefully Ten Hag doesn't fall out with too many more. And of course, that'll segue into the issues of team selection. I like what you mentioned about Marcus Rashford there, because obviously he was dropped for having overslept, but he was brought on as a sub. He scored the winner. And you could tell by the warm embrace between Ten Hag and Rashford that all was well. And that issue was solved very quickly. It's like you have to be a disciplinarian, but at the same time, you've also got to treat your players with respect, treat them like adults. And if you treat your players like adults, then they will respond and behave like adults. Some of these managers who, end up treating players as if they're, naughty school children who need to sort of have a kick up the backside or need to be given the stick instead of the carrot, that really can, not really have the desired effect later on. And I'm not fond of dictatorial managers. Yes, you should be strict, you should have discipline, but you should be responsible with it. It's a bit like parenting in a way. I would never, as a parent, if I were lucky, submit my child to corporal punishment, but I definitely wouldn't let my child get away with every single thing under the sun. And that's sort of the way the manager should be. And Rich, coming to you just quickly from a managerial standpoint, I wonder if you would agree with that.
So you're gonna have to repeat the last bit. I was typing something in the private chat because Twitter's going off.
Yeah. Apparently
yeah.
Live on TV.
Oh,
Twitter
I heard
is
about
going
that.
I saw that.
I'm watching it. I haven't got sound on.
Sorry, I got absolutely distracted. I was typing in the private. Sorry. Your question
I
was...
get that. Yeah, I get that. So we were talking about the ideal disciplinarian approach and talking about how Ten Hag has managed to, get the players on his side by being strict, but also by being fair and treating his players like adults. And certainly a nice contrast to these dictatorial managers who treat players like naughty school children who apparently deserve corporal punishment. I wonder if you believe Vieira is that sort of a manager, and is that the sort of a manager you would like managing Crystal Palace?
No, absolutely. Listen, I like Vieira's managerial style. I feel what also helps is that he's someone who has a respect from the players because of what he's achieved in the past, And in this modern era, I don't really think the dictatorial sort of style is bad. I think it's just everyone's changing because it's just modernized. Alex Ferguson was one of the great examples. The only reason it's changed is because Wenger came in and he was more subtle. Listen, you got Fergie kicking boots at players. But it was still respect. So listen, with United at that time, yes, Mourinho did some stupid things, but he's won everything in the game has to offer pretty much, so surely the respect must be there first and foremost. So yeah, listen, if Vieira wants to be a dictator in a sense, he's earned that. that. He's earned that not only for his playing style, but also last season as well, how he managed us.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, knowing Vieira as well as I do, he'll obviously want to be find a middle ground. Definitely not want to be dictatorial. And of course, you know, he did reach the FA Cup semi-finals with you lot. Obviously, I thought you guys had a really good run then. A bit of a shame that Butland, who was key to that run, is now gone on loan to United.
Yeah, he's a fraud, man. He's a fraud.
Why is he a fraud?
Okay, listen. We're going to look. I'm going to get the United.
Oh, what to go? Liverpool 1-0.
Okay, listen. Forget about what's happening between Wolves and Liverpool. That is out of order. If you want to give score updates, Ollie, you can put them in the private chat. But listen, obviously, Rich, you've seen Butland go to United, and he was, of course, as I mentioned, key during that run to the FA Cup semi-finals. I think with 3 goalkeepers, only 2 can be in the matchday squad. What's your opinion on Butland? Do you think he'll benefit from being at Manchester United? I'm not sure he will play, but maybe he will. And would you like to see him back at Selhurst Park next season?
Not really bothered, to be honest. I was like, when he was out on loan, I was just like, okay, because he wasn't starting for us, so it was just like, it's just a player.
Surely he's better than Guaita, though.
No, Guaita's had a good season. He's had a good season minus the Tottenham game and the Southampton game. He's had a good season, you know. And I'm someone who wants Johnston to start more games, but right now I can't justify dropping VG, you know. And against Chelsea, he was brilliant. He was brilliant against Chelsea. The only problem on our side, Kepa was just as brilliant for Chelsea. So yeah, listen. And plus, we've got 2 young goalkeepers that are coming through the ranks, who are doing amazing. Joe Whitworth and also Goodman. They're doing incredible. So if it's a case where they become the 3rd choice keeper, then I'm not mad.
And of course, Hardeep and Oris. I heard what Oris had to say. Hardeep, what's your opinion on Jackie?
Well, it's fair. I think he's definitely a short-term solution until the summer. But the thing is, with Ten Hag, did he really want him? I think he didn't, because if you look at the stance of our ownership, and considering that we're getting sold, I think this is definitely a short-term escape rest signing. So, no doubt that he really go back up to De Gea, but De Gea is in immense form at the moment.
Aside from that awful clanger against Everton, yes, he is in good form. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. And certainly, under the terms of the agreement, Butland won't be in the matchday squad, I'm sure. But it will be interesting to see what sort of teams will be playing. And this will segue into Manchester United in a bit. But first, Rich, I'm going to ask you to give me your ideal Palace lineup. What sort of formation would you want? Would you want a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2? Which one would you like?
I've got quite a few scenarios for this. Realistically, listen, if we can, I would actually go 5-4-1. We played it against Liverpool at Anfield. I know it's not, the fans will go mad and be like, oh, we're at home, we should try and take the game to them. We're not in a winning streak. We just need to get even a point on the board, you know, because our running after this is even worse. So I would go VG again. I think he deserves another shot.
Yep, Guaita's has already put in.
I'll go Klein. And then the 3 at the back, I would actually go, because there will be no Anderson, unfortunately. I'll go Richards, Ward, and Gay. And then Mitchell left back. And then, I'll go, 4 in the middle. Eze, Doucouré. So then?
No Nathan Klein.
Oh, he'll be right back. I'll play that 5 at the back, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, 5 at the back.
Eze, Doucouré, and?
Eze, Doucouré, Wilf, and Elise make the 4. So Eze and Doucouré will be in the middle. Could even be a diamond.
Michael Elise, right?
Yeah. And up top,
Odson would be Odson Edouard. So this is good. So this would be your team, and you've said that you wanted to have Zaha in the midfield. So you don't want him on the left wing, like no.
Zaha on the left, Elise on the right.
What's this on? It's on BBC.
Yes, BBC
Sport.
Yeah. That's right.
5 at the back. 5 at the back. Oh shit, most. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll switch.
I've seen the back before.
Okay, so Elisa on the right, and then Zaha on the
Yeah.
left. Yes,
Left, yeah.
and in
then
the
Elisa
middle,
and
in the
Decore
middle, as in Decore in the middle. So that's the only.
Mhm.
Those are the only changes. I'm sorry I didn't think of that. Next time when I do this, I'll ask you who you want in that position. Would that be okay?
No. I'm
Okay,
good.
yeah.
I'm good.
Right, and now of course we got the Manchester United lineup, and this is where Hardeep and Oris, you both can chime in. Just as
Obviously,
with
Tom Heaton and goal.
obviously-
Obviously, Tom Heaton and goal.
Are you mad, Oris? Seriously.
Back
I mean,
four.
we all know that the Gea will play no matter what.
But I
That's
think
not
you
going
know
to
this
be
back four is actually going to be interesting because we do need to rotate
so-
some players. For
Yeah.
Arsenal.
So
I think
we
it'll
know
be
that
Wan-Bissaka.
we know. Yeah. So Wan-Bissaka obviously started the Manchester derby. Wait, first of all, let's select the formation. You're going to go for a 4-2-3-1, yes?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ten Hag's preferred formation, so it'll be 4-2-3-1.
And so, who would be your left back?
Ooh,
I know that Malacia has played with Shaw coming into the middle as the left centre back, but if Lisandro Martinez were to start, would you have Shaw at left back?
Absolutely. I think for sure that should definitely be a left back.
Okay, so Shaw left back, and that means that you would probably want to have Lisandro Martinez as the left centre back, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so, who would be the other central defender? Really, only
Maguire.
one option.
Maguire.
Yeah, I think it'll be Maguire, unfortunately. Yeah, because Varane, he definitely needs rest.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well, credit to both of these two centre-backs for coming on with minutes to go in the derby, unlike a certain you-know-who walked away. I think this is pretty much the standard now. Even if you're dropped, you still have to be loyal to the team, and whether or not you're there, it will remain to be seen. And just goes to show that having beans on toast and boiled eggs with soldiers is still good for you.
It is.
Right.
Really helpful.
Right. Now, the two defensive midfielders will be key here because, as mentioned, both Fred and Casemiro are only one game away from suspension. So, would you play them and risk getting them suspended, or would you have someone else there?
Yes.
I'll play Casemiro and Eriksen. For me, I rely on Casemiro to not get a yellow card. If Ten Hag tells Casemiro to relax, just keep composed.
Well,
Casemiro not get a yellow card.
I trust him, man. I
It's a
trust him.
possibility. It's experience. It's actually really
I
experienced.
trust him more than Fred. Fred is more likely to get a yellow card than Casemiro. in my opinion.
Right. So, Hardeep, would you be happy with this?
Absolutely agree with Pivot.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the three attacking midfielders will be very key. I do like the look of Anthony, the Brazilian.
I'll
but
play Anthony.
would you?
Yeah. For me, my front three, I don't know if Hardeep agrees, but Anthony, Weghorst, Garnacho.
Well, I definitely agree there.
No.
I definitely agree there. You know what's happening with Martial?
Weghorst on fire.
Who'd go on the left?
Martial's going to play. Come on, Martial.
No, Martial is still having a few fitness issues, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, Garnacho, please.
So, I mean, I do like the look of Garnacho because he did come on as a sub in the derby and actually lent a lot of bite to the attack. And there was his arrival which preceded Fernandes and Rashford scoring their goals. So I actually would have him come in, right?
Yes, I absolutely agree.
And who would be this guy in the number 10 role?
It has to be Bruno. Yeah. Fortunately, Donny van der Beek is out with a long-term injury.
We're supporting like Cristiano.
And now, who would occupy that striker slot? Do you want
Weghorst?
Do you want
Weghorst, man.
Weghorst,
the Dutchman?
Weghorst,
We call for the Dutchman to come in.
Your defense is terrified. Listen, if the thing is, you know what would make my day, and it will possibly make Rich's day as well. If Casemiro starts, Milivojevic starts as well. That would be beautiful. Milivojevic, please start, mate. I know that's Rich's favorite player.
Well, Rich has made it clear that he doesn't want Luka in his starting lineup. So that's pretty much.
If you're asking for Luka to play based on Casemiro, Luka will get Casemiro booked.
Yeah, definitely agree there.
Be careful what you wish for.
So
you might just get it, Oris.
No, I like the like of Decore though. Decore is good.
Really good midfielder, very most functional.
Yeah.
Right. So, Ollie, I know that you're the neutral fan, but I think Hardeep and Oris, being the United fans, have picked this lineup. But who would you have instead? And I don't want any answers that are taking the mickey. I mean, are you happy with this lineup, or do you want someone else to play in a certain position?
I think I'm happy. I would go with De Gea, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. I would go with Varane instead of Maguire, but if you want Maguire. Martinez, Casemiro and Fred, because I want them both to get it. No, I mean maybe Casemiro and Ericsson or something like that, and then Anthony, Rashford, and Fernandez. I don't think you should change that. They've been good. And then I want Martial to start, but I think Weghorst will start.
Yeah. Obviously, Weghorst being 6'6" or thereabouts, it will be a return to that big target man that's normally expected. I mean, it was normally the in thing back in the day. So the crosses that are going to come into him will have to be pinpoint. Ericsson, Fernandez, Casemiro, and company. I don't know about Casemiro much as a crosser, but certainly Ericsson, can ping
Luke
it
Shaw
on
as well, yeah.
sixpence.
Luke Shaw as well.
Luke Shaw, very good call. So
Anthony, hopefully. Anthony as well.
Anthony is the
Yeah.
left-footed guy playing on the right,
He's
so
very
he'll
good.
have to cut in. He'll have to cut in and maybe
He always
shoot.
got some
I don't know.
memories. Yeah.
Yeah, he also does. Especially
Right,
towards the goal.
so again, the crosses are going to have to be really pinpoint. And so the idea of playing Weghorst against Guaita will definitely be, something. It'll give VG a big test. So, Rich, from a Crystal Palace perspective, would you be looking forward to, if you were VG, would you be looking forward to coming up against this 6'6" Dutchman?
As long as Chris Richards is playing, then it might be all right. Because Richards is like 6'2" himself, so that will give a chance. If it's Tompkins, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble.
Get Varane in. Why would you play Maguire?
No, for me, Varane is the rest, man. He needs the rest for Arsenal.
He does.
We've got
Yeah,
Arsenal
that's
next.
true.
We need to rotate
Yeah.
some minutes.
Yeah, but he'll get a few days rest. It'll be fine.
The one thing I will say is, yes, I understand. I mean, you got the benefit of having the ability to rotate your squad and stuff. But if your head's focused on just Arsenal,
Oh, no, that's
that
not.
could be
That's true.
it could be
We
a
don't
bananas.
need to have that. Yeah.
bananas.
These play.
I would suggest that yes, you make a few changes, but don't go like crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even Ten Hag said
Yeah,
it as well. He said game by game. We take it game by game. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to consider putting Ericsson and McTominay in just to protect Casemiro and Fred from bookings. But, sometimes, again, it is always on a game-by-game basis. And if Casemiro is able to keep his head, then it's all the better. So sometimes it falls on the players to just, rein it in, dial it down. And that's pretty much how it's proved. So we've been here for about 40 minutes. And I know that Rich will have a stream in the next few minutes. So we will wrap it up. But we are going to have some final thoughts, starting, of course, with our guest. Richard, are you looking forward to this game necessarily? I mean, normally a fan would say you need this game like a hole in the head. And what would be your score prediction?
I'm looking forward to just singing at the ground tomorrow. That's about it. And listen, in all honesty, if we can concede anything less, like 2 goals or less, then we've done all right. I think right now what Ten Hag's doing with the United squad is unbelievable. And he's got a lot of competition for places. Like the revival of even Wan-Bissaka has been incredible. Rashford looks like he will score every time he plays. Luke Shaw going to centre back, has dropped Maguire to 6th choice centre back now. And it's these little things that he's doing that you look at and think, what? But he's made it work, So listen, if we can get a draw out of it, great. But I don't think we will. I reckon if we start Edouard, I think we'll score, but I think we'll lose 2-1. If we don't start Edouard and Wolf goes up top, I reckon it'll be 2-0. So,
Okay. And of course, Wan-Bissaka is a former Eagle himself. Will you be giving him a good reception?
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully he scores a couple own goals whilst he's there.
Yeah, the most likely booing, to be fair. So.
I get that. And so, right. Okay, now to our other neutral fan, Ollie Sinclair. What do you think would be the score?
I'm going with 3-0. I think Man United will easily win this game. I know, Palace are at home and they might have a chance. They might get a 3-1. They might score a goal, but I see them Man United getting a clean sheet. Maybe goals from Anthony, maybe a debut goal from Weghorst, or maybe Rashford. Rashford's been on form, so he might get a goal. He's been averaging a goal every game. So I'm backing United in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it would be a draw. Palace could get something out of this game. You know, they don't do too well against big teams though. They obviously lost to Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool. So their record against big teams is.
Oh wait, we drew with Liverpool. Give us some credit.
Yeah, you drew with Liverpool. But no, I mean, nothing but a United win, I think. But it would be good if Palace got a win or a draw. I think Palace fans will take a draw, but I see the United win.
Yeah, so score prediction 3-1?
3-0.
3-0.
Yeah,
3-0. So a clean sheet for De Gea. Well, I don't think De Gea will keep a clean sheet. I think he will probably have a mistake in him, but I just think that with United's firepower, that will prove to be a little bit too much for the Palace defense. I see Ryan Mather has been in the chat for quite some time. He predicts Weghorst, Garnacho, and Fernandes to score. Rashford will be rested, so no goals for Anthony. Big call. There could be goals in this game for me. It should be a 3-1 win for United. I think Palace will also find a way to score, but in the end, United's class will tell. Now, Hardeep, what will your prediction be?
I think I could see it being a comfortable win for United, so I'm saying 2-0 United. I could see us cruising comfortably in our possession. And I think, personally, with Palace, we mustn't rule them out. Even at Selhurst Park, it's a really, really hostile atmosphere. So with Palace, you never know in the Premier League. It's very, very unpredictable, but I'm predicting United to win.
So 2-0 is your scoreline?
Yeah, that's right.
And finally, the main man himself, Orest, what is your prediction?
2-1 United. For me, we'll get the win, but I think it'll be. For me, I just want to see Palace's lineup for me.
Who will score for Palace then?
They'll probably get a goal from a corner. I think it might be a corner goal or a free kick. So we have to be careful on set pieces. But yeah, man, listen. It could be Zaha too. I think Zaha, he knows when to turn up against you.
Eze maybe.
Eze. For me, listen, I want Olise, man. Somehow I want Olise. So, Rich, can you Olise? 60 million.
Right. So
you've got Anthony though.
Okay.
Olise is more of a cam though. I prefer Olise as a cam.
Nah, trust me, he's better right wing. He is better right wing than he is.
Yeah, right. So before I introduce everyone and end the stream, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Big up to Munsley from the Sports Capital, and of course Ryan Math in the chat. Big up to you. Thank you so much for every single thing you've mentioned. Del Boy, what's the crack? What's the bleeding story? You know the crack. You know the story. You've been a part of it. Thank you very much indeed. Hashim Niaz. Football overseas, Chelsea OG in the building, still big like the late 90s or early 2000s, maybe talking about something else. So, Ryan's had a few questions over here. So, basically his question to you, Rich, is do you think that Zaha has the capabilities to lead the line or doesn't he? I think you mentioned that. He's not too good with his back to goal.
Not for me.
He's not
for me.
I would start him up front. I would.
Yeah, and so we've already started Casemiro up, said that we would start Casemiro with the threat of him missing Sunday. And as I've said, he's just going to have to, avoid getting booked. Varane might need a rest. And, this pretty much goes in. So, anyway, as I've said, all the people who have been in the chat so far who've contributed, I'm really sorry I couldn't read them personally. But I want to thank you all for contributing. And Ryan, hopefully a few of your questions have been answered. Hashim, everyone else, thanks for joining in. And we now come to that point in the day where we thank all of our guests who have come in, starting, of course, with Mr. Aponsa. Is it Aponsa or Amponsa?
Amponsa, yeah.
Aponsa. I do not want to get your name wrong again. I should know how it feels. But I want to say thank you for coming in, and I would like to see your screen maximized so that you can tell our viewers where we can find you.
Thank you for that, Maddie. Excellent hosting, by the way. Big up Orest. And Orest, I did say this year I'm going to try and be a bit more available. It's just been so busy as a teacher working in the Peru. But 100%. You can find me on Eagle Eye Football on YouTube. We've got our Twitter at. Let me make sure I'm pointing the right way. There it is. Our Twitter at. So normally JC gets this wrong all the time. There's our Twitter handle and stuff. We are on Instagram, but I passed it on to JC to handle because I'm terrible with Instagram. But that's at Eagle_eyed_football_ something like that. But just at Eagle Eye Football, where you'll find us.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put your link in the chat. Hardeep, thanks a lot for
Appreciate
joining
that.
in, one of our regular co-hosts. Let's know where we can find you.
Well, guys, know where to find me. HTM United Stan on Instagram. If you want to follow me personally there, it's HSDad17.
Big up, buddy.
Mr. Sinclair, where can we find you, son?
Yeah. First of all, big up Manny for hosting the stream and everyone joining. It's been a good stream. Yeah, you know where to find me down there. YouTube Sinclair just did a stream the other day. Make sure you check me out, subscribe on the road to 2K, and make sure you watch back my videos for the public watch hours. And on Instagram, if you want to find me, Ollie.Sinclair556 is my personal account, or you can find in my fan page, Aaron_Ramsdale fan page 1. And if you want any other social media, just DM me for that. I don't want to go on for ages. But yeah, big up Ores, Rich, Manny, and Hardeep for a great stream. Big up.
Okay,
Manny,
anyone
let's
else left? Yep. I'm the host. I don't necessarily have the most, and I certainly don't have my own YouTube channel, but you can find me on other YouTube channels. Big up, of course, to Oris Talks Football. Always happy to do some work for this channel. Coach's Corner with Hanno Trollip, Del Boy Gunner TV, of course, cannot forget him. Always my first, my last, my everything, if you will. Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AFC TV, other more neutral fan channels where I come on and have my say. If I haven't mentioned any of you by name, checks in the post, I do apologize. And you can catch me on Instagram at Manny Thangadurai 1981. Twitter is Thangadurai 1981. So that's my full name or my surname and my year of birth. Yes, I'm old. Don't make a big deal out of it. And always happy to come on and discuss football as more of a neutral fan. I don't believe in engaging in banter or snarky comments. We're united by our love of the game and our respect for one another, and that's the way it should be. So thank you all for joining in. Stay safe, stay happy. Don't do anything any of us five wouldn't do. And I'm out, but Oris is still back in. So Oris, you're in the spotlight. You have to tell people where they can find you.
There we go. Yeah, you can find me Oris Football on this. I stream that, man. Yeah, whatever. Oris Football on YouTube, Oris Football on Instagram, Twitter, Oris Footy, because for some reason Twitter, yeah, I can't put football because I know there's some word caps. So listen, it's Footy for now. We're not American, don't worry about Oris Footy. But yeah, man, listen, big up Manny Folsom, big up Rich. Haven't seen you in a long time, so big up, man. Hardy, big up, man, and also Ollie, man, big up yourself. Yeah, man, great stream.
Yeah, indeed, a good stream. Really glad to be a part of it. Thank you all for being a part of it. We are out for now. Please stay tuned to Oris Talks Football for more streams and more coverage of some great action from the Premiership and elsewhere. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the bell button for notifications, and keep yourselves posted. We're all out, people. Have yourselves a good evening.
You liked it. You liked it.